Presented by GhostBed.com.
God damn it. Welcome to Drinkin' Bros. Kids, it's Tuesday. I have a feeling this is going to be a great show, D'Anthony. There's just something in my bones, dude. When this man walked into the studio today, Chadd Wright, former Navy SEAL, maybe a current one. I'm totally kidding. Probably couldn't get away with that look, could you?
Negative.
When you walked into the studio today, I gave you some change. And I said, do you need a sandwich? And you said, I'm your guest today on the show. And I go, oh, are you? I've never seen a Navy SEAL with your appearance before. It's pretty incredible.
Well, I like it. And generally, I don't come to places like this. I'm still sitting here at this moment trying to figure out how in the crap am I on the Drinkin' Bros podcast?
Yeah.
Because I live on a 500-acre wilderness in the middle of North Georgia. And I was telling my friend Chili today, I said, anybody who would willingly partake in this every day is mentally ill.
Yeah.
Well, you can now, people might say the same thing about me for staying on my 500 acres of woods in North Georgia. But I disagree.
Where in North Georgia?
Where in Georgia, yeah.
Can you give us grid coordinates?
Northwest Georgia.
So okay. He's being real cagey about it now.
I'm from Georgia.
No kidding.
Yeah, I'm originally from Georgia. I grew up, let's see, so as a youth, I was in Sandy Springs, the Dunwoody area. And then we moved to Roswell, and then the Alpharetta area. So we were around there. Now you're probably up by Dahlonega, somewhere near there?
Yeah, up around that way.
Dahlonega, that's where Mountain Phaser Ranger School is.
Is it really?
Yeah, you got to be careful up there.
It's beautiful up there. I love Dahlonega.
I mean, it's not beautiful when you've gone without food for the last week. Probably,
sure. But for the rest of us tourists,
that's their
nice.
fucking problem.
Now, hold on, Dan. Were you an Army Ranger?
No, I was in the 82nd.
82nd. Okay. I don't know much about. Why did you guys invite me on this show?
Well,
we don't have anything to do with that. We just kind of we have a guy that books everything, and then random people show up here, and sometimes they're homeless.
And so here's what he said. He goes, "Do you guys like moonshine and rednecks and the whole shit?" And I was like, "Well, how redneck is he?" And he goes, "He's got a can of Copenhagen tattooed on his arm." And I said, "That's not true. Is that true?"
That's true.
Let's see it. Let's see the.
Right there it is, son.
Do what you love, and you'll never work a day in your
life. Copenhagen has been a integral part of my success in life. A few months ago, I ran 38 hours straight, 122 miles. I climbed 37,700 feet up, and I went down 37,107, however many feet. It's about 8,000 over Mount Everest. And you know how I did it?
How?
I had Copenhagen in my lip the whole time.
Shut the fuck up.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. You wonder why all team guys dip Copenhagen? You can't go to sleep with a dip of Copenhagen in. I mean, I ran 38 hours, man. You think I wasn't freaking wore out? If I didn't have some Copenhagen, I would have laid down on the ground and died. Y'all ain't figured this out yet.
Nicotine's a nootropic.
It is. Yeah. We've got Lucy.co on our show, promo code Drinkin' Bros on that one. But we do it all the time. We also decided to have you on the show. We had Cam Haines on the show, who does ultra marathons.
Cam's a great guy.
Great guy, and you're in a similar vein to Cam. Let's start with your Navy SEAL days first of all, because again, you're so unassuming. I never would have guessed you were a Navy SEAL in a million years. Usually they look like Ray Cashcare. Do you know him?
I've heard of him.
Yeah, he's a real dick.
He's a meathead.
Yeah.
Good guy.
You look like you were a roadie for the Allman Brothers.
He's a weirdo. He's always trying to show people's dick, which is that's a pretty common theme among shooters, I guess. I don't know. People are always trying to you cause some, and it's the movie Waiting, right? You've caused somebody through no fault of their own to look at your dick and balls, and then you call them gay.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works, what the math involved in that is, but it's worked for years, and who am I to change it?
I don't know if it's math. It's more science.
That's also
sounds about right.
Yeah. Not even the weirdest thing about him. He makes his own bed in hotel rooms.
Yeah, that's weird. He thinks it's like a form of discipline. Shut up, man.
It's not. They make it for you.
As a matter
Y'all
of fact,
had him on the show?
Oh, yeah, a bunch of times. Yeah, there's a signed picture of him right there.
He shaved his pubes live on air and then blew them in the air on one of the shows back in the day.
Well, that wasn't real. He doesn't have any pubes.
Well, what he had. We had a product called Manscaped at the time, and he just shaved off his pubes, what he had, and then blew those up into the air. Now with you, are you from Georgia originally?
Yeah, I was born and raised in North Georgia.
I was going to say, because that accent's not from Boston.
No, sir.
Where around? I grew up in Greenville, South Carolina. He grew up in where he said, so.
Yeah.
We're doing a background check.
Yeah, it seems like you might be part of a militia.
I'm about an hour and a half northwest of Atlanta. Right there in that general area.
Close to Tennessee?
Not too far.
Not too far, yeah.
Not too far.
Yeah.
This is how you give directions in the fucking
If
wilderness.
you're an hour and a half northwest of Atlanta, which, by the way, Atlanta is the butthole of the South, never get within an hour of Atlanta. If you're going to move to Georgia, move at least outside the perimeter of a 1 hour drive to Atlanta, all right? If you're an hour and a half northwest of Atlanta, then you're about an hour south or so of Tennessee.
Correct.
That's where it's going to put you. Kind of near Alabama. I'd be nearer to Alabama than Tennessee. Yeah.
And that's all you're willing to say.
That's where I was born and raised, up in those hills, yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
And how old were you when you joined the military, 18?
Yeah, I was 18.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you went through buds and all that other stuff?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Did you enjoy it?
I did. That was probably, to be totally honest with you, my favorite part of my whole career was buds. It was probably one of the only things in life that lives up and exceeds what you expected it to be. And, you know, it's really rewarding because so many times in life you go and you have this big plan to do this, go to this place or do this thing. And you get there, you show up, and you're like, it ain't really that great.
Yeah.
Buds wasn't that way. It shaped me into who I am today. Before I went to Buds, man, I didn't even know how to swim. I had never ran before, didn't know how to swim. All I knew is that if I stayed here in this little town in northwest Georgia, I wasn't going to get much out of life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now there's something to be said about staying in a small town and doing that. You know, if that's what suits you, then it's not a bad way to spend your life. But I wanted something more. College wasn't that. I couldn't stand school, man. I had to go around the last day in high school and beg my teachers to change my grades so that I could actually graduate high school. So that's the kind of the type of person I was. And I finally passed a physical standards test, got a SEAL contract, went into the Navy, and on the last day of boot camp, I was diagnosed with a 7-centimeter pericardial cyst on my heart. They had never seen it before. I was the first Naval Special Warfare candidate to ever have this condition.
What do you do in a situation like that?
Well, you go to the doctor's office, and the doctor proceeds to tell you, well, Seaman Wright, you've got a 7-centimeter cyst on your heart. It's asymptomatic. It'll never bother you for the rest of your life. But we're afraid that when you dive underwater, the pressure change is going to burst that cyst. So I'm sorry about your luck, buddy, but you'll never be a SEAL.
No shit.
And they kicked me out of the Navy.
They kicked you out. And how long were you in at that point?
That would have been boot camp, 8 or 9 weeks.
No shit.
Yeah, 8 or 9 weeks.
So how does one get to go back? Did you get a surgery, or did you convince them, or did you just not say anything at all?
No, they knew it was there.
Okay.
So I got out of the Navy, went back to my little hometown there in northwest Georgia. Of course, everybody that was there thought that I was a quitter because I'm Chadd. Like, come on, man. Chadd's not going to make it through SEAL training.
Yeah.
And after a few weeks of deep depression, I decided I'm going to figure out a way to go do what I decided I wanted to do. And so I traveled all over Atlanta making appointments with heart surgeons. And every heart surgeon that I would go to, up to the third one, the first two said, look, man, we're not performing this surgery. This is an asymptomatic cyst. it's an elective surgery, basically. We're not going to tackle this, right? Finally found a surgeon that would take this thing off my heart. So I went in and had my chest split open and had this very complex heart surgery to remove this cyst from my heart, and showed back up into the Navy less than a year after that surgery.
Holy shit. So when you're back and you're back in, is it with the same people? Did they know your story going back in?
Same doctor. Same doctor
shit.
that disqualified me and kicked me out.
And what did he say?
I walked into his office, and I walked into his office to give him the paperwork from the civilian surgeon that removed the cyst. And I'll never forget, he looked at me, and you could see it on his face. Like, what the crap are you doing back here, man?
You can say fuck, by the way.
Yeah, you can say fuck.
I actually don't curse.
Really?
I don't curse.
Man of God?
Yes, I am a follower of Christ, but that's not the reason I don't curse.
Okay.
Now, yes, he looked at me like I was an idiot. And I said, I had this folder. I said, here you go, buddy. And he reviewed it. It went all the way up to the top of whoever the medical people are in Naval Special Warfare. They finally signed off on it, and I got to go to SEAL training.
Yeah.
So that was my
Any issues during drown
roundabout way.
proofing? I mean, aside from drowning.
Yeah. How did you learn to swim in time?
Well, no, you'll learn out of necessity, but
Yeah,
the drown proofing process is pretty fucked up. So you were all good with that?
Yeah, the water, man. It's all about simply staying calm. Drown proofing is one of the easiest evolutions that you do in buds. It's probably the least physically demanding thing that they ask you to do. If you just stay relaxed, all you have to do is bob up and down off the bottom of the pool. So no, that was easy day, man.
Well, I'd say as a civilian, can you explain that process to me? Do they drown you? Do they tie things to your legs? Like, what is that process exactly?
Well, they do drown you in buds, but not on drown proofing. Drown proofing, they tie your hands behind your back and tie your feet together and toss you in a 15-foot deep swimming pool.
Holy shit.
Yeah, have you never seen the videos? They go down to the bottom, kick off, come up, take air, go down.
No, how long does it last for?
I have no clue until they tell you to get out of the pool.
Until the instructor gets tired.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Did anybody pass out?
Oh, yeah, guys freak out, dude.
I'm sure. I'm freaking out just fucking hearing about it.
Like, the 50-meter underwater swim was probably the most difficult water evolution for me in first phase, other than surf torture. Surf torture was terrible. You can see how freaking skinny I am, dude. 50-meter underwater swim, you jump in the pool, you do a front flip, and you swim 25 meters underwater, turn around, and swim 25 meters back. So it is what it sounds like it is. Now, while you're waiting your turn, you're sitting on the pool deck, and your back is to the swimming pool, okay? So you can't see what's going on. But you hear the instructors pulling your classmates out of the pool and literally resuscitating them. These guys they're punching them in the gut, and you hear your classmate back there just vomiting water out of their stomach and coming back to life. Yeah. And so you're just having to sit here, and you're like trying to look out of the corner of your eye to see. And you talk about being stressed out, man. That will stress you out, knowing that you're about to have to go do the same thing that's basically drowning them. Yeah. Right. And especially as me, man, I wasn't a water guy. I wasn't a good athlete. A lot of the dudes we went to buds with, man, they were collegiate athletes, ball players, wrestlers. I mean, I was at the bottom of the totem pole in terms of fitness and ability when I was in my class. So you see these studs drowning out, and you know it's about to be your turn. It takes some real mental skill to stay calm and actually be able to perform that task.
Yeah, because most of the Navy SEALs that have been on this show are pretty big, jacked guys. They don't typically look like you. You look like you might have been running moonshine for a while before getting into the Navy SEALs. You might run it now. I do
have a steel on order.
Do you really?
I do.
Called it. Fucking knew it, dude.
Yeah, but it's medicinal only.
Obviously.
It's medicinal.
Yeah, obviously.
You got a doctor's note for that.
Yeah, you have to. But you were a Navy SEAL for 12 years?
12 years, yeah.
Which is a long time.
I was in the Navy 12 years. My whole career was with Naval Special Warfare.
Yeah, but that's a long time.
Yeah, it was a good little spell.
What was some of the coolest shit you got? Were you on any of those teams that you were like, all right, cool, I blew up this guy or killed this guy or anything else?
You know what, man? If I was to give you an honest perspective of my time in the SEAL teams, my time in the SEAL teams was wrought with poor decisions and failures and a lot of difficulty, and much of that difficulty was caused by my own actions.
Oh yeah,
because I was literally a pretty terrible person. Now, that being said, I got to do a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I did. I got to go really cool places and do some fun missions and, you know, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm actually still processing my actual career in the Navy. See, I've only been out of the Navy for 2 years now, I guess.
Ah, shit.
2 years.
Okay, yeah.
And like, I'm still processing it. And what's crazy, man, is we talk about all those terrible things that did happen, and that's what's in my mind. And what I realize is that right now, today, I'm actually twice the man that I was when I was in the SEAL teams. Mm-hmm. But it's because of all that bad crap. Mm. See, all the accomplishments that I had, all accomplishments do is build your confidence. There's really no value that I have to offer to you or any of that in an accomplishment. Any value that I have to offer you is in my failures, right?
Sure.
And so that's the way I process it, and I'm still not there yet, dude. It was a wild time.
Let me ask you this. The second D in Chad, is that silent?
Negative.
So it's Chadded.
Chaddada. Technically, yes.
I think that's an important question to ask, to be honest.
It's a wonderful question.
You people should be called whatever they want to be called.
I agree. Yeah,
right.
The second D was just in case you forgot, I think. And that's a common thing in Georgia that we do. Like my kid's name is Jax, J-A-X, right? And that's in case he was born dumb. He would never have a problem spelling his name. It's only 3 letters.
Can you imagine being fucking Norwegian or something?
It's too
having
much.
75 consonants in a row as your middle name?
And like, a couple umlauts in there?
I'm not doing that.
Too much responsibility.
I just give up. You can call me Cheese or something. Right? Just come up with some little nickname. There's no point in doing all that bullshit.
Now, were you a terrible person because of how many people you killed or just the enjoyment of it? What made you a terrible person in there?
To be honest with you, man, I think if you boiled it all, what it would all boil down to is at that time in my life, I found more pleasure in doing things that I knew were bad than I found pleasure in doing things that I knew were good.
Well, you don't want to do what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
That's part of it. And then you also want to challenge, like, if you don't have a complex belief system already, one of the best ways to challenge yourself is to go outside of the mainstream authority, right? Mm-hmm. That's the coming of age story of pretty much every rambunctious young man. We fuck shit up. We go find dumb things to do. It's fun.
Well, yeah. I'll tell you what changed it all. What changed it all for me was I was actually on deployment. I was staying in a kind of like a barracks with my team. And I don't know how else to put it other than there was some sort of demon inhabiting this place. And it get too weird for you, Dan?
Huh?
You all right?
No, he's readjusting.
I'm actually a big fan of demons.
Yeah, he loves it. He's settling in right now. Like we're fucking getting to the shits.
I just have constant lower back pain, so I have to adjust myself all the time.
Roger that, brother. Yeah. And so we're in this place, man, and weird stuff starts happening for seemingly no reason. Like the initial thing that I remember is I was laying in my rack one night, my bed, mm-hmm. and I heard something hit my door, and it jolted me awake, right? And as I laid awake in bed, I could hear these strange voices echoing up and down the hallway of that building. And it freaked me out. Like, it wasn't like, well, that's weird. We were the only people in here. Like, I knew that for a fact. It wasn't like that was weird. There was fear attached to it. So I got up, opened my door, obviously looked out in the hallway. No one's there. Walk right across the hall and open the door to my buddy's room. They're passed out in the room. Nobody's up, moving about. And that was the initial thing. And so these things continued to happen over the course of days and weeks. And it was not only that, but it was this feeling of oppression. I remember walking in this place one time, and there was a stairwell that led up to the room we were staying in. And the stairwell went up, and then it cut back on itself, and there was a landing. So as you were walking up the first flight, that landing was behind you, right? Your back was exposed to that landing. And I remember, as I was walking up that first flight of stairs, feeling the presence of some evil as if it was staring at me, looking through my soul, and the hair on my body stood up. And I turned around, and I was fully expecting to see something standing on that landing area.
Was it Amber Heard?
I don't know who Amber Heard is.
You're lucky.
Is she kind of like Hillary Clinton?
Close.
Okay.
Well, she shits on things.
Yeah, she shits on beds and things like that. It's fine.
Okay.
What was it?
So, dude, I didn't know what it was. All I knew is that I didn't know how to handle this situation because I understand tactics and warfare and stuff like this, but I had never encountered something that I couldn't shoot or kill or something that was unworldly, right? And so I did know that my little brother was a spiritual man. What you would call a Christian. Do you know what a Christian is?
I do.
That means somebody that follows Christ.
Yep.
Okay. And I called him because I was just at a loss of what the world to do. And he said, okay, let me put you in touch with a friend of mine that might can help you. And so his friend calls me later that day, that evening, and his friend says, look, I want you to put this phone on speaker, and I want you to walk throughout this place where you are and just hold the phone up.
Yeah.
And as I walk around this place, this crazy man begins to pray in the name of Jesus Christ. And I'm just thinking, well, let's see if this works.
Right.
Let's see if I can get some rest tonight after this happens. And once he was done, I said, roger that. Cut the phone off and waited till it was time to chill out and call it a day. And total peace had returned to that place after he did that. And so it really impacted me because it worked. And it made me think, well, there's obviously some power there. And so I got my hands on a Bible. And I opened up this Bible. By the way, if you don't know what the Bible is, it's the #1 best-selling book in the world. It's a very unique book because you can actually study it for your entire life, and it will continuously, throughout your entire life, show you things and tell you things about yourself, right? And I started to read it, and I opened up, and the very first sentence made sense to me. The very first sentence is the account of creation, the creation of the universe. And you know, it always trips me out that people are stupid enough to believe the theory of evolution, all right? Or to believe that all of this just happened. I mean, how stupid do you have to be to believe that? And I open this book up and it says, right in the first sentence, in the beginning, there's time. God created the heavens, there's space, and the earth, there's matter. The very first sentence accounted for the very three things that compose the entire universe.
What was the third thing?
Time, space, and matter.
Yeah.
God created in the beginning, there's time. God created the heavens, there's space, and the earth, there's matter. Okay, wow, that made total sense to me. Okay, I like this. Then I turn to this other book. See, the Bible is not just one book, it's many books. And I turn then to this book in the Bible called Matthew. And Matthew tells me about this man named Jesus, okay? And Jesus is a really weird guy. You know what's weird about Jesus? A bunch of daggone redneck fishermen changed the entire world because they said they saw him come back from the dead. That's weird. That's really weird. You know, there's a lot of weird things about this Jesus guy, but it started to, he says he's the Son of God. He tells me all these things about myself, and
you're all in.
I loved him.
Yeah, dude.
I loved him. And I thought, I got to thinking, how am I really supposed to believe this, man? Well, you know, there's many cases, I think, that you can look at for Christ. But ultimately, when I ask myself, these 11 redneck fishermen that followed this dude, they saw him get killed.
Right.
They saw him get nailed to a cross. Well, 3 days later, they were running around saying that he had risen from the dead and that he actually was who he said he was. And now, they maintained that story unto their deaths. You understand, all of those 11 redneck fishermen were ruthlessly murdered, other than one, right? So Peter's one of them. You ever heard of Peter? Saint Peter.
Yeah, I've heard of Peter.
Okay, Peter was a disciple of Christ. He was one of the redneck fishermen. You know what they did to Peter? They crucified Peter because Peter was running around saying that Jesus Christ was God. They crucified him, and you know what Peter said? He said, "Don't crucify me because I'm not worthy to be crucified like Christ. So crucify me upside down." They crucified Peter upside down on a cross. Do you think that if Peter knew for a fact if he saw this man come back from the dead or not? Do you think if Peter didn't really see this man come back from the dead, he would have said, "Hold up, guys, y'all about to put me on this cross. Give me just a second. Let me change my story. Jesus didn't really come back from the dead. I was just making that up, man. You don't got to crucify me today." Do you think that none of those 11 men wouldn't have changed their story?
Let me ask you this. Were you a fisherman back in the day?
I fish when there's nothing else to do.
Okay.
I fish when there's nothing else to do.
That's like golf. Golf is not a sport.
Yeah.
Golf is what athletes do when they're not being athletic.
What I'm thinking is you probably identify with the redneck fisherman, and you were like, all right, cool, man, I can get behind some shit like this.
How am I here at Drinkin Bros talking to you guys, reaching freaking however many people listen to this show, man? I couldn't do this, dude. I'm a dumb redneck. What the crap am I doing here, man? You know who brought me here? The creator of the freaking universe, man, unto whom all authority has been given. Do you understand? I am not a bad dude because I was a SEAL. You might have me confused, all right? You might have me confused. It ain't nothing to me, son. Look, I'm a bad dude because the creator of the universe has chosen me to do what I'm doing right here today.
Yeah.
And that's why, dude.
So let me ask you this. Do you ever think back to what you did, right, as a Navy SEAL? And you may or may not have killed a shit ton of people, right? Did he choose you to do that as well and be like, "Hey, man, I need you personally, Chadd, with 2 Ds, I need you to go out and kill all these people"?
I think literally that's a very tough question to answer.
It is, right?
I think when I look back on my life, everything that I have done or went through, every mistake I have made, every accomplishment or success that I have had, everything has been a piece of the puzzle that has led me up to the point that I am right now. I can genuinely see that, how it was all orchestrated in a way. Now, the bad things, what is influencing the bad things that happen? It's hard to say. And how does how does your will interact with the divine plan of your Creator for your life? Those are very complex subjects. We don't necessarily have time to give even an easy answer to those subjects.
No, and by the way, I'm not judging you. I mean, shit. The people you killed, they probably deserved it.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
I know you're not. I know you're not judging me.
Dan, what, dude? They probably did, and I'm not going to ask questions on that.
Well, sometimes it's just a circumstance, right?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't start this fucking war. Somebody brought me here.
Exactly.
And now
you know what?
shit's just gotta
100%.
happen the way it happens.
You know what the Bible says about how the Bible answers that question? The Bible says that love always protects. If you love your brother beside you,
Yeah.
you're going to protect him. Love always protects. And if you have a form of wickedness that is coming to kill your brother beside you, wickedness, evil only responds to force. You can't have a discussion with evil. You just can't, right?
Yeah.
So you have to respond with force. It's the exact same thing. If somebody breaks into your freaking house, they're coming to do your harm. They're coming to do you harm. Why would you not kill that person that just broke into your house?
I agree.
But you love the people that hopefully your wife, your children, the people that are in the house with you.
Yeah.
You're killing that person because love will always protect.
Yeah.
That's my answer to that.
I think whoever has murdered, and I said this the other day on the show, not this one, but one on Patreon. Let's face it, it's the only way you can get away with shit like that. I think it's pretty much, if somebody has, we've had a few people come up and say, hey, dude, I killed this person, whatever, right? And I was like, if it's justified, I'm fine with it. You know?
Yeah.
Well, there's no natural law against taking human life. There's natural law against unnecessarily taking human life.
Yeah, but if just mentally is like me, a person, if I feel it's justified, I don't really care, and I'm not going to fucking judge you. You know what I'm saying?
You talk about murder. You know, do you guys believe that the fetus of a child is a human being? Do you believe a fetus is a human being?
I guess it depends on what you. So when people have this debate, they're talking about a human being from two different perspectives. One group is talking about a human being as a meat sack with a brain inside of it, and one
Clump of cells.
Well, either way, but the other side, which I assume is your side, is thinking of it as some soul that happens to be inside of a body. Now, I don't believe in any of that, so that's not a factor for me.
Well, it's just interesting. You know, we talk about, you bring the why is murder again is different than engaging in something evil that's coming to hurt you and taking that evil out of the equation. Murder is different than killing, right? Why is murder so rampant in society today? I have to believe that it's tied to the message that we send to the younger generation when they see that we are literally murdering millions of unborn children. That's a pretty terrible message to send to young people about the value of human life. The value of human life. Look here, man. Everything that we see happening in the world today, man, it's because the moral fabric of humanity is coming unraveled. It all boils down to the moral fabric. You realize the founders of this country said, this Constitution is wholly inadequate to govern an immoral and irreligious people. That's a quote. I think John Adams quoted that.
Well, John Adams also wrote the treaty to Libya that said that the United States wouldn't respect any religion over religion or religion over irreligion. He said that we are not a country founded on Christian principles, as a matter of fact. I think it was 1813 maybe, or I don't remember the exact date, but it was a treaty between the United States and Libya, I believe.
And I would totally agree with that. I'm not saying that every person in the United States should subscribe to Christianity. I'm saying that we all have to adhere to a certain moral code. We have to do that. But to place freedom in the hands of a population, you have to trust that the people there are all subscribed to the same moral code. You have to know what to expect from each other, right?
Yeah.
And that's the reason. So what happens, why did they say the Constitution is inadequate to govern an immoral people? Well, I've thought a lot about that. When you have people that are no longer subscribed to a moral code and they do what makes you feel good, right?
Yeah.
They do what makes you feel good. Well, how do you govern those people? How does that work around the world? Well, how does that work in Africa, in third world countries? How did it work in Afghanistan? How does that work? They're governed by tyrants. They're governed by warlords. They have to be. They have to be controlled.
Well, so are we.
Yeah.
We're governed by tyrants and warlords. They just take a more bureaucratic approach to it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like if you look at the defense spending in this country, it's kind of ridiculous how much power that they have.
Yes, I
And
agree.
we have very little.
I agree. I just did a podcast yesterday with a guy, and he asked me, how do we recover from this? And I'm like, look, man, my only answer is it has to start with the family. The family is the smallest form of government. Y'all, would you agree with that?
Yeah,
I mean, the family is the smallest form of government.
Sure, yeah.
And so it has to start there if we're going to recover as a nation. I don't even care about I'm talking about the United States, man. I'm not talking about other countries, but us as a nation, it has to start with the family. I'm not asking you to subscribe to Christianity if that's not what you want to do, right? But you cannot argue with the fact that the basis of Christian morality works. The foundation of Christian morality is what? Love your neighbor as yourself, right? That's the foundation of all the other aspects of morals that Jesus Christ outlined for us in Scripture, right?
So what do you think of other people who believe in different religions, like Muslim or Judaism? Like, what do you think of their beliefs then?
Do I need to think anything? I mean, I don't know what I don't know what they. I haven't studied I haven't studied Islam. I haven't studied Judaism. I haven't. If I had to give a one-word answer, I would say that they're probably confused.
And why would they be confused versus what you believe in per se?
The reason that I stand so firmly on the principles of biblical scripture, like biblical morality, the reason I stand so firmly on them versus other religions is because I have personal experience in trying to follow how Jesus told me to live, and it has actually worked and enhanced my life. It has made, y'all don't even understand, man. Y'all don't even understand how it has enhanced my life.
Oh, I understand.
And so
I totally get it. And I know how passionate you are about it, but you have to realize other people are just as passionate about their own religions, and they would say the same thing of like, hey, why not bother to learn my religion if you're going to learn about Christianity? Why not learn about all the other religions and then give it a go from there?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I landed on white women. You know what I'm saying? Like I tried all the other ones and I was like, I think if I'm going to get married, it's probably going to be a white girl. But that's, I tried everything else.
Yeah. With my personal experience, I subscribe to the moral and ethical principles of the Bible. They worked. They enhanced my life. I have come to figure out that is a great blueprint for how to live a good, happy, wholesome, fulfilled life.
For you.
Well,
for me.
But
for you, yeah.
If you look at an organization like the Freemasons, for example, they require that you have some system of faith, but not any particular system of faith.
Yeah.
The Freemasons have a lot of weird shit going on, but I think in that regard, they probably got it right. There's a lot of different types of faiths, obviously the major religions and shit, or faith in goodness as a general concept, which is what you're referring to. It's basically if you take all the politics out of Christianity, and I've mentioned this before, if you take the deity part of Jesus away, still seemed like a pretty good dude, right?
Yeah.
Like that might be a pretty decent example on how to live your life. If somebody's downtrodden, if they're doing things that you wouldn't necessarily approve of, like being a prostitute, for example, you still are kind to them. Right?
Yeah.
And then when you see injustice, you don't. You turn the other cheek if somebody attacks you, but if they attack the principles that we've all agreed on, then you flip their fucking table over. I think that's something that most people can agree on.
Yeah, but with there was something you said earlier about evolution that I want to go back to, if you don't mind.
Well, I want to ask you a question
Sure.
before you move on.
Yeah, fire away.
Have you ever been to have you been to many Muslim countries?
Me? No.
I've been to a couple.
Yeah, he has, obviously, but not me.
Have you been to any Hindu countries?
I have not.
Okay.
No.
Well, if you ever get a chance to visit, just look around you and see how those people are doing, following the code they're following. And that'll show you a stark contrast between what following Scripture, Bible, will do for you in your life and what following another set of morals that are untrue.
Well, so since you brought that up, do you think that's what shaped you is because you've been around the world, you've probably seen horrific, fucked up shit in all these other countries and religions and stuff like that, especially most of these wars in the Middle East are based on thousands of years of just religion, right? And a belief in that religion versus everything else.
Quite a few. I would say the majority of them, yes.
Yeah.
There's a couple of, Turkey until recently with his Erdogan cunt, but Jordan is one that kind of shies away from that. But the majority of the rest of them, I would say, yeah, they pretty much wholehearted. We've seen it in Saudi Arabia and Iran over the last 60 years. They make a lot of progress, and then some fucking religious fundamentalist comes in and wipes it all out pretty quickly.
Kind of what happened in Afghanistan, where it was like as soon as we left, great, the Taliban's in there, girls aren't going to school, and all that other shit, right?
Yeah, it happened. But that's the exact same thing that happened when we left in the 1980s as well.
Correct. And I'm assuming, based on all of this, that probably shaped your faith, what you believe in, and what you study.
Had to influence me. Had to.
Yeah, but a lot of this stuff from the governmental aspect that's been very successful in the West is based on Greek and Roman philosophy, not necessarily. Like a lot of it is English common law, which is developed out of that, but it didn't have necessarily a religious factor to it. Now the founders were mostly deist. They weren't necessarily like devout fundamentalist Christian or anything like that, but they did, like, in the same way that the Freemasons realize, and I think that's something that we've lost today, and it's something that you alluded to earlier. The idea, generally speaking, that somebody should believe in something greater than themselves is a very important part of staying focused as a human being and not being a piece of shit.
That's a good way to put it, man. Yeah. Good job.
Yeah, and with that, I have to ask about the evolution thing. Do you believe in dinosaurs?
Oh, yeah. I think dinosaurs are in the Bible.
Okay, so dinosaurs are in there?
Yeah.
But that's not a part of evolution?
Here's the thing, man. Now, I want you guys to please know, all you listeners, I am not a scientist, all right? I look at things with a redneck logic, right? Whether you like it or not, that's the way I perceive the world. I try to figure out what makes logical sense. And so if you do much research on, say, old Earth, like evolution type, the Earth is 3 billion years old or whatever.
4.5.
4.5 billion. Okay, that much of that theory is based on another theory called the Theory of Uniformity, which assumes that everything here on Earth, in terms of the atmosphere and in terms of the environmental conditions, everything has been relatively the same. All right? Now, here's the way you would look at it from a more creationist standpoint. How did the Earth change so much? What happened to the dinosaurs? How were these freaking massive mountain range formed? How was the Grand Canyon formed? When you look at all that stuff from a creationist standpoint, one of the big accounts of creation is a flood, right? Now, if you take that literally, which I take that literally, that the entire earth was flooded at one point, all right? Now, not only as the earth flooded, but as that water receded, none of us can calculate what that would have done to the landscape, the surface of the earth. All right? None of us can calculate what flooding the entire earth would do to the atmosphere of the earth. If you read the biblical account of creation prior to the flood, the atmosphere of the earth was actually much different than the atmosphere of the earth today. I believe that was affected by the entire earth being covered with water. Again, big, deep topics. You can do tons of research into this if you want to. I believe there is a better answer of why things are the way we see them today when you take things like a massive worldwide flood into account than to sit here and say the earth is 4 billion years old. Something came from nothing. Something came from nothing.
Well, I don't think it's accurate to say that the theory of evolution or the Big Bang or any of that shit is saying that something came from nothing. I mean, the most plausible explanation that scientists have now is that we're on the other side of a black hole, and that was the explosion we experienced, right, to start the universe. But who knows?
Chili said black holes don't exist. But
well, there's a black hole at the center of our galaxy. That
all black holes matter.
Would Chili like to expand upon that?
Is Chili mic'd up?
Your mic's off, Chili.
Is he on? There you go,
Yeah.
Chili. You can talk into it, Chili.
Chili is way smarter than I am, by the way.
Is he? God, pan over to Chili. Do we have a camera on Chili?
I don't hear his mic coming through.
I don't hear his mic coming through here. But Papa, man, there it is. You can keep that single on Chili for a little bit.
Look at him, son.
Let me just tell you. I
There you
will
go.
say when you do talk about evolution, and I think you were conflating the Big Bang theory with evolution. Like evolution wouldn't imply that something came from nothing necessarily. As I think Dan was pointing that out. Like those are separate things. But back to the black holes. Yeah, I don't think black holes exist.
At all?
No, I don't.
Well, we just took a picture of one last week.
Yeah.
With a telescope.
What is a black hole? It's literally a pocket of nothing, right?
That's a good question. We don't know what it is.
I mean, if it's a pocket of nothing, how you take a picture of it? You took a picture of nothing?
I take a picture using something called gravitational lensing, right? It's part of the theory of relativity.
Well, hey, man, listen, I will be the first to tell you, I'm extremely cognitively limited.
No, I can explain it to you.
You just said Chili was the smartest guy you knew.
No, hey,
He's just humble.
I'm caught in the crossfire here.
I'm very cognitively limited.
Here, I'll give you a very simple explanation of it, right? So light travels obviously at light speed, right?
Right.
So we have this very dense object. We can't see the object itself. So imagine this is invisible, I guess, for lack of a better phrase. But we know that there's light behind it because we rotate at a different rate that this rotates with us, right?
Right.
So it's moving across our landscape like this. Now we can see the light from behind it bending around it. And there's a mathematical equation you can do to tell how much mass this object has to cause light to bend that way. That's how you take a picture of it. So actually, you're taking a picture of the negative space.
Dan, do you believe we really went to the moon?
That's a really good question, actually.
I was hoping we would go there today, dude.
That's a really good question.
Fuck
Go ahead and tell you right now.
I've heard from people that work and have worked close with NASA and like in past decades who believe, yes, we went to the moon, but we also fucking shot some fake footage just in case it didn't work out. I've heard that from people that I believe.
Do you think we didn't go to the moon?
I'm going to go ahead and tell you, brother, we didn't go to the moon. I hate to burst your bubble. But
You actually filled my bubble.
Well, I will say, do you know how many people have landed on the moon?
12 or something.
Yeah.
Over 13, yeah.
Who are the other 10, man? You only hear the names of 2.
Well, those were the most famous because they did the 3 through 12. Do you really care about
Yeah, man, there's only 12 of them.
Who played in the Super Bowl last year? I know those teams. I don't know who finished 3 through 12 in the rest of the NFL. And I'm an NFL fan, you know? Right. But the other guys, it's sorry you were third.
Hey, man, but Buzz and old Lance Lance Armstrong and Buzz, they came down and they handed out moon rocks and it was freaking petrified wood. They went to foreign countries, man, and handed them to world leaders, and it was petrified wood.
Well, maybe that's what the moon's made of.
You could be right.
Actually,
be right.
What the moon, our theory on what the moon is made of. So, right around 1 billion years old, the Earth got hit by a Mars-sized object. This is the the working theory, and it blew off the crust of the Earth, right? And then, just like Saturn's ring, an accretion disk formed, and over time they slammed together, and the gravity of the moon absorbed all that matter.
So it makes sense for a piece of an oak tree to fly up there, you're saying?
No, not necessarily, but carbon.
Carbon deposits,
That's what petrified wood is. It's almost like charcoal.
You're on to
basically.
something.
That's why we have these conversations, man.
We've
got to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, we have to.
Look here,
Actually,
man.
I don't give a shit. I would like Harry Carey's old theory that the moon is made out of blue cheese.
Yeah, same.
Like, if that were the case, or if there's a cow up there, any of that bullshit.
So what do you think happened with the moon?
You know, well, I mean, I guess you could sum it all up saying it was just a big hoax, man. You know, if China ain't been to the moon, we ain't been to the moon, son.
You think China's better than us?
I think, doesn't China produce more engineers every year, in a single year, than we have in the whole population of the United States of America? I think
that's a great question.
I think
actually.
the Chinese, the Asian people in general are highly intelligent.
Well, they value
extremely hardworking, extremely disciplined, and they like to win.
Yeah.
These guys, they're fierce, man. They like to win. Now, I just got to give them a little credit, man. Yeah. I think they would have went.
I'm not sure that there's any value in going to the moon. Like, who gives a shit?
Why do we spend all this money researching freaking Antarctica?
Well, I think for climate change, I believe.
There's some of that, but Antarctica also happens to be situated at a pole, which means there's less atmospheric disturbance when you're trying to use a telescope to look outward, right? That's one of the reasons. It's the same reason that we have a lot of our main radio telescopes up in the mountains and shit, like on that island in Hawaii and then down in Chile and shit. But it's mostly so Morgan Freeman can make another Penguin movie.
Oh, yeah.
I want to take a pause in the show right now
Go
and
ahead.
give Dan credit for being a highly intelligent, very well-rounded and read human being.
Yeah.
I want to give you credit. I want to
Is there
announce
a
that
song
right now.
we can play for Dan for that? Like, do we have a jingle that we can... I think you got one back there.
The board is limited.
Hang on. Yeah. Dan's intelligence. Fuck your dad. Fuck you, mom and dad. I'm coming.
You know, Dan, I didn't know what to think about you when I first met you, but now I like you.
Yeah, that's how it goes for most people.
Dan, what do you know about the pyramids in China? I've always wanted to know about that.
The ones in China. I mean, I know the pyramid as a structure is the most sturdy thing you can build. So you would think that any rudimentary culture at some point would have discovered building it, right?
Right, because I heard that they're perfect, just like in Egypt.
Yeah.
But they won't let nobody talk about them.
Well, you're not allowed to talk about anything in China. Shit.
No.
Good point.
They just fuck some dude over. Well, I don't remember the exact details, so I don't want to speculate. But one of their influencers just got canceled, and I don't know. Like in America, if you get canceled, people stop giving you sponsorship money. In China, they throw you into the fucking ocean with a rock tied around your neck, right? So it's slightly different. I don't know.
We're going to move on to Bigfoot now. Because if you don't believe in the moon and all that other stuff, like, this is great. Now, I've got to know about Bigfoot, real or fake.
Well, you know what I do for a living? I actually take people into the wilderness and train them.
Yep.
That's what I do for a living. So I spend a lot of time in the wilderness. And if I had to sum up the answer to your question, I believe that there at one time was very likely a North American primate that looked
Why wouldn't there be?
very similar to what we say.
Yeah.
I think a lot
We
of...
have elephants now, right? But back in the day, we had a woolly mammoth, which is a much larger, hairier
elephant.
tusked, fucking curved tusk elephant. I mean, what?
So I think there was Bigfoot,
Yeah.
but he's been killed out.
So they recently found a 30,000-year-old footprint in New Mexico.
Bigfoot?
It's a human foot,
Humanoid, yeah.
but it predates human arrival in North America by about double.
Yeah.
Do you have a photo of that, Bob, that we can pop up on
I
screen?
should actually. Yeah, hold on.
Yeah, because one would think with that a footprint, that large, they probably put some plaster down.
If I was Shaq, I would dress up like Bigfoot and just walk around in the Pacific Northwest. That's all. He's rich now; he can do whatever the fuck he wants. Why is he still doing TV?
Yeah, I don't understand.
Just go do that, and then he can make documentaries about Bigfoot and make money that way.
Well, there were giants on the earth. That is biblical, right? I don't know if y'all have read that in the Bible
giant.
or not.
Yeah, define a giant.
Goliath.
Like Andre?
If you go back,
Goliath was 9.5 feet tall, I think, is the...
Andre the giant was 7'6", I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Here's your footprints.
Oh, there you go. These are the Bigfoot footprints right there?
Man, why are the toes so spread out like that?
Yeah, that doesn't look that
They were
big.
probably just coming from the nail salon. They just had their toes done. And they still have those little spreaders.
Man, I'm going to tell you, looking at that picture, Bigfoot's alive and well.
Yeah,
Well, that's 30,000 years old, they say.
Nah, he's still here.
Yeah, you think
You
so?
don't think-
Chili,
man.
you think he's here?
Dang country's, it's big, man.
Ross,
It's big.
in
If there's
2000
only a few of them, you think there's more than one? Or is there just one guy?
I liked Harry and the Hendersons.
Yeah, same. I thought it was a super underrated movie. John Lithgow's really great in it.
Yeah.
I think there's probably 3 to ballpark it. For a guy like you, have you ever gone and tried to track one of these things?
I spent 2 years of my life trying to chase Bigfoot.
I figured. And look, I knew it. I got the vibe when you walked in, and I wanted to ask you about it.
What was the most compelling evidence for or against it that you ever saw when you were out there?
Man, when Bigfoot, from what I gathered, in the Pacific Northwest, that's where he's at. There's not any in the South where we're from. You have to go to the Pacific Northwest.
Well, no, Chili, that redneck fisherman that I was catfishing with the other day claimed he saw Bigfoot right there on the Coosa River.
I think he's just nuts.
I'm telling you, he swears up and down he saw him.
Yeah.
Well, the most compelling evidence is like a deer, will mark a tree, right? Yeah. And scratch a tree. Well, but you know what level that's going to be at, right? It's about human height.
You know how many hands high their head is, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then there's Bigfoot tree markings all over the Pacific Northwest about double what a human is. That's the most compelling to me. But I think they roam all around there.
You don't think that might be a bear that's standing up on its hind legs?
Yeah, somebody would have killed him, man. You can't get away with nothing with these game cameras now, man.
No.
I just had this fucking conversation last week.
Man, I mean, how many people used to poach? You'd go, your neighbor had a big deer over there, and you can't do that crap no more, man. You can't get away with nothing with these game cameras.
You can't murder in the woods, dude, with the game cameras. Yeah,
No.
because they have everything.
Well, you need an EMP, right? You need the ability to short out any kind of electronics nearby.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of work to go through for somebody like me. Like I just that's not something I'm capable of doing. How did you get the name Chili, by the way?
Oh, man, I can't tell you that. It's kind of like where he grew up. Can't quite tell you.
Chili's actually in the Space Force. Chili's an admiral in the Space Force.
Yeah, you spent some time in
Second division.
there? You've got, well, obviously. Obviously. How did you guys become friends? How'd you meet? In a chat room?
No, so I was running a
4chan.
I was running a 100-mile mountain race 2 years ago, I think, and I have done well when it comes to running really long distances. So usually when I go and race, I try to win, and usually I'm going to place top 3. A lot of times I will get first place.
Cam Haynes ever beat you?
I've never raced against Cam.
No shit.
I've never raced against Cam. But, Cam, I think Cam, most of his running is done to prepare him for elk hunting. Most of my running is done very specific to win a race, right? So I'm sure Cam and I, we train differently. But I went to this 100-mile race. I was there to win, and we took off, and we're running, and I'm running second place, and this guy, Chili, nobody knew who he was. He's just pulling on me the whole time. Now, it takes about 20 hours, 19 hours to run 100 miles in the mountains. The whole time, I'm coming through aid stations, and people are coming up and talking to me and saying, hey, don't worry about that young guy up front. He's going to blow up. He's running too fast. And so I just kept doing my thing, man. And ultimately, he never blew up. He ended up running that race, beating me by almost 2 hours, setting a course record that day for that race, all-time course record. And it's a very prestigious race in our area. been going on for multiple years. And he actually hung out at the finish line and waited for me to come through a finish. Now, take this in mind. It was 3 a.m, man, and he hung out there for 2 hours, waited for me to finish. We sat down and had a conversation, and as our business has grown, we needed another team member, and I knew Chili from us meeting at that race, and I said, this is a good dude, man. He's going to go hard, and here's the thing. I want to surround myself with people that are better than me. Because, we do team PT every Wednesday.
Okay.
And I want to have team members that are going to beat me because that makes me work harder to hopefully eventually beat them. And that's what Chili and I do for each other. We push each other, man. He's my YouTube consultant, my manager, and during team PT, we make each other better. Because he's that good.
Right. So you have a YouTube channel?
Yeah, we have. We just started it, man.
Oh, you did?
We just started it. Yeah.
Pull it up. What's the name of it?
Takes a while to get it going on YouTube these days.
What's the name of it?
It actually, we've got like 10,000 subscribers.
3 of 7
Holy
project.
shit,
Three
really?
of, we went
just
from,
started, yeah. 3 of 7 project.
3 of 7 project. Pull it up. You guys have 10,000 subscribers already?
already.
Good start.
Yeah, it's a 10th of ours already because we're shadow banned on this. Don't have Alex Jones on election night. We learned that the hard way.
Yeah, don't talk about politics on your channel. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
We learned that the
AJ's
hard way.
good for ratings, man.
We do fun little challenges on there, man. We do all kinds of. I'm actually really liking it. I'm really
challenges with each
liking
other?
it. No, well, yeah, we do challenges with each other.
Well, that's what we're trying to start, right?
I've got a buddy down the road that was a Green Beret I trained with, so we just did this series like Green Beret versus Navy SEAL. We came up with all these awesome challenges, and I'm really liking it, man. I always thought Chili's been telling me for a year to start a YouTube channel, and I'm like, that sounds so stupid. Like, how are we going to get it to take off? And we posted some videos on there, and it's just exploded. I don't know.
What was that first conversation that you guys had at 3 o'clock in the morning after running 100 miles?
Yeah.
Was it about Bigfoot and the moon?
No, it really wasn't. Gosh, what were we talking about, dude? 'Cause I remember talking to Chili, and I think at that time, Chili was running like 160-mile training weeks.
Jesus Christ.
He was nobody could touch him. He was winning races everywhere. He was racing like 50 miles on Saturday and then racing 100 miles the next Saturday and then racing 30 miles the Sunday and just back to back to back crushing people, man.
But was he running from the police or just for fun?
No, he was just running to win, man.
Okay.
It pays to be a winner.
Yeah.
We like to win. And I remember, the only thing I remember telling Chili is, hey, man, I know you're crushing it, but you need to pace yourself a little here because it is not healthy to run 100 miles. I mean, it destroys your body. It destroys your hormones. It gets, like, I'll have a fever for 2 days after I race a 100-mile race.
And why is that?
It's, well, I think it's
Just inflammatory response,
yeah,
right?
it's just, it makes you sick,
White
man.
blood cells.
Yeah,
trying
you
to
destroy
repair all the
everything.
shit. Like if you notice when you get even a bruise, it's warm, it's white blood cells repairing the area. If it's all over your fucking body, that's probably not great. You should just sit in an ice bath for 2 days probably is the best solution for that.
Yeah,
shit.
that helps a lot, man. It's a brutal thing. But I remember telling Chili that, and shortly after, I think not too long after that conversation, he had some physical issues that he's now had to work through because he just was going so freaking hard, man. But that's the way he does, man. He just goes hard, and that's what I love about him.
Anything mental, Chili, or is it just physical with you?
It's just physical. Yeah, running's
no
easy.
mental problems?
Running's mentally easy.
What do you think about when you run? Like
Nothing.
Cam is like me. He thinks he does math in his head. Like I've got this much distance left to go. I need to run this amount and this amount of time to do that, and he focuses on that to get to that distance, and he comes up with a new one. That's what
it's like if I can get to 20, then great.
Yeah.
I've got 6 left, and then I can finish.
I didn't
the
know
6
that.
and-
So like a distraction almost.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
Okay.
like it's a distraction that has an intrinsic or built-in goal,
Right.
as well, right? So
Right.
it's not like you're just like fucking thinking about random nonsense. You're actually focused on the task still, but it's got your brain busy while your body's working.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think whenever what I'm thinking about during the race is just how bad I want it. Because I think people get 70 miles into a 100-mile race, and then things freaking break down like crazy, and they forget why they even started doing it. So then they just quit, and I'm just the whole time thinking about how bad I want it. Why am I here?
He's hungry, man.
Yeah, he
He's
looks hungry. I mean, run 100 miles.
The best way to do it is to not think about nothing. Just be completely blank.
And I'm sure you have no problem with that.
Tabula rasa.
Hey, it's easier than you think for me.
But the reason Chili's saying that, man, is because whenever you tackle something big, right? Whether it's business, starting a freaking podcast, whatever it is, man, the most dangerous thing that you can do is overextend yourself mentally, right? I mean, there are three things that enable me to run that far. The first one is I'm very, very patient. Okay? I'm very patient. So if I'm patient enough to run for 38 hours. Right. You know, you get tired of running, but I'm patient enough to do it. The second one, and this one applies to what we were just talking about, is being able to stay present, because that is the number one thing that will take you out. That's the number one thing that will lead you to quitting whatever it is that you're doing, is if you start to think too far ahead, it's going to crush you mentally, man. Yeah. That's probably the number one reason guys quit SEAL training.
I think so, yeah. I mean, you see it in one of the things we used to tell people when they were struggling to do like forced road marches or some shit is the only step that matters is the next one.
Yeah,
right?
Totally, man.
That's it. And it sounds reductive, but it's true. If you just keep reminding yourself to keep putting one foot in front of the other, you can walk forever until your body literally falls apart. You can do the same running, I guess.
Yeah, you can. If you can stay present, you can make constant forward motion until something in your physical body breaks and then obviously takes you out of the game. But, you know, I think this same principle of not overextending yourself mentally applies even in marriage, man. I mean, so my wife's a recovering addict, and if you've ever walked through recovery with someone that you love, it's a long, hard road, man.
Drugs or alcohol?
Drugs.
You have to relearn how to be a person, basically. Like all the things that motivate you as a human being from the intrinsic level, like food and shelter and safety, for example, like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and then all the social needs also that you develop over time, all get thrown out the window, and it all becomes about the next hit. Yep. That's how addiction works, right? Like it reduces all of your primal instincts just to getting the next thing. And that's why people seem like they have no moral compass or it just like they're insane or whatever. But it's really not that. They've been misaligned. Yeah. And once you realize that, you can start the process of realignment. But it is a fucked up situation.
Man, yeah. I mean, this principle we're talking about is the number one thing that saved my marriage. I mean, you know, being able to not look ahead and say, wow, this recovery process is going to be a year long. Like, how am I going to be the one here taking care of everything and doing my job? I was active duty at the time. How am I going to do this for a freaking year, man? So, like, first making the decision that you're not going to quit, because you're going to want to quit when you tackle anything hard, right? But you first have to make the decision to take quitting off the table. And then after that, it's just a matter of being patient with the process and being present with what you've got to do to make it through that day. And the harder it gets, man, I mean, there are times in a 100-mile race, the harder it gets, you may have to break it down to the next step. Yeah. Like you just said, man. You may have to pick a tree out 20 yards ahead of you and say, I got to make it to that tree, right? And just do that over and over and over again. I mean, that's how you get to the end.
But that's part of how we process life in the first place. Everybody that can hear the sound of my voice remembers being in the backseat of a car, heading to a family vacation at some point, and you're looking at the next tree or light post or whatever it is coming, and you're counting them or doing something like that, right? Like that's how we naturally process stuff. But we spend so much time trying to convince ourselves that we're smarter than nature, right? That we've got it all figured out. It's the most arrogant, ignorant shit of all time.
Yeah. Tell me about your 3 of 7 project.
Yeah, what does that mean, 3 of 7?
So 3 of 7 is, so the 3, we believe all people are composed of a physical body, a mind, a soul, mind, will, and emotions, and then a spirit, right? And so that's what the 3 stands for. The 7 is the number for completion. So everything that we do at 3 of 7 Project is to try to help people master, nourish, or maintain their body, physical body, their mental capacity or mental toughness, and then also connect with whatever is their spiritual connection, right? And we believe if you can really be deliberate about working on those 3 aspects of yourself every single day, you're going to have a really complete and fulfilled life, man. So we do that mainly through training. I mean, essentially, that's the foundation of what we are as a training company. We take people out in the wilderness. We have a podcast where we talk about all this stuff, and we have a blast, man. I mean,
Did you guys happen to see the trailer for the new Netflix show, Snowflake Mountain?
No, man, I don't watch much TV.
They're taking a bunch. It sounds like what you do, actually. They're taking a bunch of snowflakes out on this mountain and teaching them how to be, real people and fucking hunt and fish and train and all that other shit.
The wilderness is awesome, man, because the great thing about training in the wilderness is you don't have to create or manufacture difficulty. The environment will manufacture difficulty for you and give you an environment that will force you to grow, or it will kill you.
Who are your primary clients? Are you guys doing like corporations? Are you doing kids?
No, we actually work with we work with individuals. Most of our individuals are high performing entrepreneurs, people that just want to get better, which are hard to find these days. I've come to learn since I got into this business, most people just want to be entertained. Yep. That's what they want. They don't actually want to train. But the few people who actually want to train, they have to send applications for these courses of instruction. I go through all the applications and I put together small teams, usually 8 people. I like doing that because what fulfills me the most is seeing 8 strangers show up to do this crazy thing that they don't even know what it is. And we take them out. And within 3 days, I get to teach these people how to communicate, how to lead, how to be led. And all of a sudden, they go from being 8 strangers to being this single organism that's moving in the direction effectively and efficiently towards an objective that I've set for them. And it's so rewarding for me when I see that happen, man. It's like a transformation.
Was there ever anybody that you thought to yourself, man, this person's not that great of a person or shouldn't be out in the world? And when they get there, you duct tape their mouth and their hands and their feet. You wrap them up in a sleeping bag, drive them up into the woods, smack them against a tree, and then just kind of leave them there.
Well, there's been a few people that might have tempted me to do that. I've recently, as I grow as a human being, I recently have come to the conclusion, though, and it's helped me tremendously when dealing with people that just aren't quite there yet. I've recently come to the conclusion that all of us are just terribly broken people trying to do the best that we can with what we've got here in this life. And when you come to that conclusion that there's a lot of people that we look at, or there's a lot of people that portray themselves as perfect or untouchable or whatever it may be. It's all a lie. Every last one of those people are lying to you. Every human walking around on this earth is broken. And some of us are just a little more broken than others, right? And some of us just don't have the tools that some of us have. Some people just don't have the wits or the common sense or the physical ability to do what somebody else can do. And I used to be very judgmental, really judgmental. But when I came to that conclusion, it forces me to look at people in a different light, and it kind of teaches me not to be frustrated with them or to hate them, but as long as they're not evil. Right. Evil's different. I'm talking about people that want to do good. They just don't. They're just not there yet because they're broken, man.
Right.
Well, it's a fine line, right? I mean, there's an innate aggressiveness in men that's been developed by nature over time to ensure the survival of our DNA, right?
Yeah.
The ability to go hunt, the ability to fight, to protect, the things that are close to us, shit like that. And when it is absent guidance, aggression like that tends to turn evil in deed, but not necessarily in purpose. You know what I mean? Like some people, and that isn't to excuse anybody that does fucked up shit because they're bored or uncoached. It's to identify what the solution for it is. And the solution is mentorship, fatherhood, right? That's something that's severely lacking in our culture right now.
Man, I would agree 100% with that, brother.
And it doesn't really matter what you believe, whether you believe the earth is, 5,000 years old or 4.5 billion. That principle is rock fucking solid.
Yeah, Chili, do you need a father?
Well,
I'm willing to adopt you.
I think
I've been sitting in this seat for an hour and a half, and I don't know if you've known this, but I've felt like you're that figure for me that I've been missing.
Yeah,
you could be each other's fathers.
Yeah.
Like if you ever needed dad,
You really just freaked me out saying that.
Yeah, no,
I've been feeling this.
I understand it. I caught you out of my peripheral, and I said, hey, the guy looks like he needs a father figure in his life, and God damn it, I'll lend a hand. I'll lend a hand.
Look, man, what do I need to call you?
Well, not daddy.
Okay.
That's something that's reserved for my wife.
I was going to let you say it.
Yeah. Father is fine, or Mr. Patterson. I'm not picky. Mr. Patterson, though, would be great, but we'll work on it later. And
yes, sir.
We'll have a catch after the show, and then obviously I'll expect a gift a week from Sunday here. Chad, now's the point in the show we get to the Drinking Bro of the Week, which is someone who has inspired you, helped you become the person you are today.
It's actually Chadd.
Chadd.
Yeah.
Who would you like to give the
asshole over here.
well, that second D is going to get everybody.
People deserve to be called what they want to be called.
I understand that. Chadd. Who would you like to give the Drinking Bro of the Week to?
Man, that's really cool that y'all do that. I have a really cool story about Drinking Bros podcast too.
Okay.
If you want to hear it,
Yeah,
it's really
fire
good. Away. No, first I'll do the Drinking Bro of the Week. I would present that award to my mother.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
My mother is essentially she taught me the majority, informed me into who I am. She just set such a strong example throughout my entire childhood. My father was a great father, but he worked a lot and he worked hard. And we spent a lot of time with our mom. And I'm going to give the award to her.
That's awesome.
For sure.
That's awesome, man. Cheers. Cheers.
Yeah.
And what's the Drinking Bros podcast?
Oh, my
story?
gosh, dude. You guys, I hope you guys can appreciate this.
Sure.
All right. So when you guys or whatever wizard around here invited me on this show, I knew I was coming on this show, and I was out for a run one day. And I said, well, I'm going to see what this Drinking Bros podcast is about, right? And I had heard of the show. There was a book written that talks about Drinking Bros.
Yeah.
It's like an end of times book. Have y'all read that book before?
No, there was a movie about the end of times, but
no. you guys, this show is in a book.
Yeah,
I read it.
It's in Matt Best's book.
Matt Best's book.
Yeah. I wrote that book. Yeah.
Holy crap. Okay, but I had never listened to it, so I'm out for a run, and I tune in to Drinking Bros because I'm like, I want to see what these guys are all about. And you guys were talking about Stacey Abrams. And I'm running and listening to you guys talk about Stacey Abrams. And I get about halfway through my run, and I realized that I was running slower than I could actually run. And I had to turn the show off so that I could start running fast again.
It's probably just hearing the name Stacey Abrams tends to hold
Stacey. That's what you write on down.
That's exactly what it was, man. You guys.
For those of you who don't know, Stacey Abrams ran for governor in the state of Georgia.
You guys were.
Hey, she is the governor.
Her, dude.
She's running now.
She's running now. Yeah.
No, she didn't lose that. Hey. She won.
Oh, did she? She's president of Earth.
Check them votes, Ross.
Bob, can you fact check that? Is Stacey Abrams the governor?
Did she win for
now
real?
go to Stacey Abrams' website now.
Yeah, she's governor.
Yeah.
She's the governor of Georgia right now, currently?
She won.
That's the worst news I've heard all day.
She won.
Holy smokes.
She did the Trump before Trump, which is refusing to admit that an election was lost.
Oh, Black Autumn.
Wait. So
That's the
is
book.
she governor? Yes or no?
No, she
That's it,
lost to
yep.
Brian Kemp. And
Oh, yes, she lost.
and
No.
She lost.
That's-
and claimed there was
I'm
voter
from Georgia,
fraud
and I'm
all
like,
that
God
stuff.
damn,
If you-
Chili,
if
you
you-
really do need a father.
That's
today.
misinfo,
God damn
man.
it.
If you watch Stargate, she is the president of Earth, bitch. You understand? I know that that's not real,
Yeah.
but none of this is real.
None of it's real. But I think, though, Chili, I believe she might be running for senator, Bob. Can you check that
yeah.
one?
She's running for something.
No,
I mean,
she's running for governor again.
Let me be clear.
She's running for governor again?
Yeah.
I don't know how the sitting governor can run for governor, but that's what's happening.
She's not governor, son.
She's
I mean, damn it.
very
Chili.
clear. She's very clearly never run in her entire life,
No, she's not running. She's
Not a step.
except for office. Right.
She makes me want to run when she smiles. Run
yeah.
and kick a field goal.
There it is. Nailed it. Favorite Georgia band, go.
Favorite Georgia band?
I'm kidding. If it's not Allman Brothers, dude, are you really from Georgia or no?
Well,
What about
I mean, immediately, I don't know where Leonard Skinner is from.
Alabama?
Alabama.
But Leonard Skinner sings a song about Georgia peaches.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Speaking of the female
The butts.
population,
About
that
fat
we have.
asses, yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, Georgia has got the best looking women. You know, Hank Jr. sang a song about Texas women, and I really expected it to be better than it is. It's my first time to Texas. I mean, Georgia has got Texas beat
Okay.
on the good looking women.
All
And
right.
that's what came to mind. I mean,
Chili, what say you?
I think Tennessee's got the best looking women. You ever been to
Okay.
Nashville?
Yeah.
Walk
yeah,
down
we
Broadway?
were just there.
nah, nobody sang a song about Tennessee women, dude.
Tennessee whiskey.
Yeah.
They sang,
Yeah.
Hank
Hey,
Jr.
man.
sang a song about a Tennessee stud talking about a horse, but nobody. Tennessee women are not renowned. They're not good enough to be renowned.
Oh shit! I've enjoyed this. I don't know what the fuck it was today, but it was
don't either.
awesome, dude. I gained a son, and we learned a lot. We learned a lot today.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on, man.
Tell everybody where they can find you.
3of7project.com.
Okay, perfect. And then the
It's
YouTube
the
channel.
It's the number 3 and the number 7. So
Yep.
number 3 OF, number 7.
Project.com.
And then you got the YouTube channel as well. Subscribe to that, and then if we're out in Georgia, maybe we'll be guests on your show one day.
Man, that would be something else right there, son.
It'd be awesome.
That would be
It'd be
good.
awesome. I'm from there. I'd love to go back and do the show. We're actually going to be in Nashville, I think, in a few weeks. So
Well, we'll show you a good time if you want to come down.
I bet you
I'll
will.
show you a good time.
Yeah, I bet you shit gets wild out there, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Fucking A, dude.
Yeah, we don't mess around.
Well, I'll
Give me some of that shine.
Yeah, let me know when the fucking the
Moonshine's
still
ready.
is set up, and that's when we'll come.
Well, if
Absolutely.
you ever have a cold or something, if
Cold.
you have a little cold or sniffle or maybe even a scratch, right?
Yeah.
You can disinfect it. Just give me a call.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. For Chadd, D'Anthony Holloway, I'm Ross Patterson. This is the Drinkin' Bros podcast and Chili, everybody. Good night.